Hey there everyone, how you going? So today I thought I would just lean into the concept of life is suffering. I hear it quite a bit nowadays. I see it a lot being thrown around, that life is suffering as a statement. I have my own sort of feeling around it. It's a subjective point of view around life is suffering, and I think the original concept was came from the Buddhists. That was one of their four noble truths, which was around the concept of that suffering was in ignorance and also in desire. So for me, suffering, the main part of suffering is how we feel about it. Is I think we have greater tendencies of pain with suffering when we are attached to it and are a victim to it, and also don't have an awareness around it as well. So when we're truly at the mercy of it, obviously the extent of time that it can go for and the depths of suffering can certainly be inexplicable sometimes. And so like our way of thinking about it is like really important, I think. I think there's got to be this sort of sense of awareness that life involves suffering at some point, right? It also involves love and abundance and happiness and contentment and all these other things that we enjoy. But it definitely has a component of pain and loss and suffering and sadness and all of that as well, and anger and frustration. It's got, life has got all of this stuff put together, and it is part of our experience to witness it, to experience it, and it is part of our life. But just the fact of knowing that, I feel, is freedom, lightness in just knowing that fact, that it is a part of life, rather than being in it and it being subjected to you, and I'm under the weight of suffering, so therefore I'm a victim of suffering. And I think that there is some real opportunities for us to stand back, knowing that this is going to occur, and that it will pass. It will pass. It may feel like it's gonna go on forever, but it will pass, and there will be times of ups and downs, and just knowing that, just being in a state of awareness that I'm currently in a state of suffering. What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? Because we all know that it's in the deepest suffering that we grow the most. When you look back at your traumas and some of the the deepest pain that you've ever been in, I bet you anything, when you look back at it, you go, well, that's when I grew the most, or that's when I learnt the most. So there is definitely opportunity within suffering and massive growth. I think most importantly, it's being in a state of awareness that it has a time limit on it and it will pass. And if we can watch it and be mindful about it and lean into what we can learn from it, then there's a real opportunity for us to grow from this state of suffering. So I'm open to what you think and what you feel around this whole concept of life is suffering. For me, I feel that I know this is going to sound really, really, I guess, basic as a basic concept, but, on one side of the scale, we've got, fear and scarcity and ego, and, we've got that side of things, disconnection. And on the other side, we have love, abundance, and everything else, consciousness, everything on that side. And we're always somewhere traveling on the course in between. Sometimes we're up this end when we're, certainly for me, when I'm meditating and I become more conscious, I become more considerate and kind, and I'm up this end of the scale. And when I'm down this end of the scale, I definitely am feeling more suffering than I am up this way. And I know even when I hit certain points where I could be impacted massively, if I'm up this end of the scale more, then my state of suffering is less than as if I was down this end, and if I was feeding my ego in a state of fear and anxiety and stress, that I would not be able to cope as well with that level of suffering, and I would be in it more, and it would last longer, and the depth of it would be deeper. So I guess it's just another reason for me why meditation is such a key important thing, because it's these kind of practices like meditation and mindfulness and breath work and these sort of yoga, these practices which help nurture ourselves and connect ourselves to our true self. They keep us to this side of the experience, which is more of the love and abundance and connected side and the consciousness side. And I definitely know one thing in my own experience is that my state of suffering, even in tragedy and in loss and in sadness and in trauma, I'm much better equipped up here. And that's when I'm doing my key pillar practices. So I'm open to hearing more about this from what your perspective is around a state of suffering and life is suffering and that statement. And I'll look forward to hearing your comments. Ciao.